It's TGI Now time. Back again in the K420 studio discussing real authentic truth talk, freedom of speech, and living in the now. Freeing your mind.
One episode at a time. Shit, we trying.
Boom.
Go.
Back at it again.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Carl, it's up.
Doing good? Just chilling?
Good.
You good?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Joseph in the house.
Joseph.
What's up, buddy? Good to see you.
It's good to
Welcome
be
back,
here.
brother.
Good to be back.
Give you a kind of a late invite, so I was like, "Oops!"
Yeah.
You know, I felt I was like, "Oops!" And then I was like, "You know what? Let's call Joe up and see
I had a
what
good vibration in this room, man.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Oh, yeah. That's a great. But I got to tell you that the frequency in this room has always been high.
Yeah.
I have gotten sick in this room, but I have never had a bad feeling in this room.
Really, like you can recognize that even now. And
Yeah,
just
sick and having a bad
feeling.
feeling are two different things. Sick is physical,
Yeah.
but when you're in a mental state of just being in a higher frequency, like you were showing before in the video,
Yep.
I was thinking about that, how trusting God, and then the next thing was being self-sufficient.
Yeah.
After you let go of the stuff, you trust God.
Yeah.
Now it's about you.
Yeah.
What is it you gonna do?
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's you. You're gonna go up the ladder.
Mhm. Yeah.
You're gonna go self-sufficient,
Yeah.
love, peace,
Yeah.
joy. All these
Acceptance.
stuff is what's gonna bring you to the highest frequency.
100%. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, what Eddie's saying, with the awakening train. We're talking about like the Hawkins scale of consciousness and how that pertains to, today's world and what people are dealing with, on a larger scale, personally, emotionally, physically. People are starting to awaken to things that they thought maybe weren't really true. That, these truths that are coming out are kind of shaking people a little bit. And so we want to help, guide people for that. And Joe's really good at talking about this Hawkins scale of consciousness. And I'll put that up on the screen, and then we can go through how that'll help you navigate through your everyday life, really. And
It's a sure bet.
Yeah.
That's what it'll do. If you just, really just look at it and see if it makes sense for you. If it does, like it does for me.
Yep, there it is, right there.
It's a fantastic tool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going to put it up on the screen for everybody to
See what I was saying? Love, joy, peace, and then enlightenment.
Those are the high ones.
Is the top.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the ultimate.
Yeah, and then look at the ones that are at the bottom: fear, guilt, and shame.
Yeah.
But if you notice those things in the bottom, evil, everything from, look at pride, right?
Yeah.
Pride, remember, pride was the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pride,
It was
pride
pride.
coming before the fall.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Then
Exactly.
look everything on top of pride, is good. Courage.
Correct.
Yep.
Neutrality.
Yep.
All these good things are on top of pride. It starts with courage.
Yeah.
You got to be strong enough to let go of fear and all doubt to,
Yeah.
if you notice, right? And then the top part is enlightenment. I can tell you that I'm at peace.
Yeah.
And I haven't really quite made it to
You're
enlightenment.
really high vibing, man.
Yeah.
That's,
But I'm at
They
peace,
say
though.
most of the world vibrates in the low 200s, if that. They just below 200 sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you look at the scale, it's very very low.
But when I met John, also, I was at willingness.
Yeah. See,
Yeah,
that's
that's we talked
that's
about.
what I
Yeah, you see?
Yeah.
So-
Wow, I'm looking at
he
the
was-
chart.
He was.
that's my favorite
He
thing.
was willing. Yeah, you always say it all the time. He was willing to listen to what I was telling him. Like I'd be like, well, Eddie, the voice of knowledge and the voice in your head, and he was willing to go to it and go listen to the book. So once you get past the willingness, then you can go, you know what? I've always thought this, and it always made sense to me. It just didn't know how it made sense for the words. And so then he went from willingness, and then he worked his way up.
I accepted it.
See how it works?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then I accepted it, right, John? We
it's-
spoke about this last week.
It's true.
Exactly what
Yeah.
happens.
Wow.
It's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You give it 100 different situations, and
Yeah.
the same thing will happen in reverse too if you let it.
Yeah, in reverse. Yeah,
And what was the
Yeah.
reason?
It was
Because that
fear.
was the next thing.
It was
No, the reason was to have this podcast.
Right.
well, that
Well,
yeah. You were just, but
nonetheless,
I was
you were
trying to
there.
get you out of that fear state
Yeah.
where you were in that fear
Yeah.
state.
And that's the great thing about it too, because I say that a lot, and this is a perfect example to lead into it. So let's say you're at fear, you're worried about whatever, and you were referring to willingness. Well, fear, you're vibrating at 100, and willingness, you're vibrating at 310. So that's triple and then some, that your vibration. And think about what willingness is. Like, if I become willing to go wash the car is not washed yet.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I just decided that I was going to do so. In that moment, you can triple your vibration, and you can try it. And then that point is the acceptance is that next step, right? So you're accepting that you're out there washing the car at that point.
Yeah.
You're probably feeling really good about it, right? So it's not that hard, to really snap out of it. But the hard part is being aware that that's where you're at, right? 100%. And that's why I think the scale is one of the clearest, and simplest things that you could apply directly to your own life. Hey, look, if it doesn't work the same for whoever's listening, I'll give you your money back. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
But
you're right.
But yeah. And then you can identify much, much clearer, much easier. And it doesn't take much to snap yourself out of it.
Yeah, and what David Hawkins says is he outlined the map of consciousness, power versus force, outlined that a single person radiating the frequency of true love can impact nearly 750,000 individuals below that level by their frequency alone.
750,000.
Most of the world lies below the 200 range, which means the bare baseline state of consciousness is one of shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, or pride. By engaging in spiritual inner work to raise your level of being, you heal the world and raise the collective level of consciousness.
That's true, because let me tell you, when I was at Courage, right, that's when I first started listening and started opening up.
See?
I started, and then after Courage, I mean, really being neutral, I guess, I don't know if I passed that, because I went right to willingness.
Yeah.
I was open. And then John started fucking telling me shit, and I was open. And John even said it last week. I was actually listening, and he was looking at me like, this motherfucker is really listening to me.
Yep.
He would tell me a book, and the next day he came, bro, I read the fucking book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'd be like, damn, you did? He's like,
yeah, bro, I fucking did the book, dude.
Yeah. No, there's the map of consciousness up there. So that gives you a little more of a wording of it. Shame, guilt, apathy, grief, lowest, the red.
But that's what a lot of people are today.
Yeah. 100%.
Well, that's what he says. The world, it's vibrating at 200, and the best thing about it is that how it says that you can affect others, and how and the math behind the others.
Yeah.
So there's studies that they put enlightened people like monks, in a city, with tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And crime rate statistics drop, and things of this nature. So you're not even talking about like conversations with people. Your vibration is affecting, that many people. I mean, unfortunately, it does work in the opposite direction. If we allow,
misery loves company.
Well,
it goes that.
So
it goes to that.
So it'll be the same kind of thing. You can be, I don't know. At neutrality. You're doing okay. And. You walk into somewhere and somebody starts talking about like their homeowners insurance and the rates got, raised, which pretty much happens to me too, right? And then you go, oh yeah, that happened to me too, whatever. And then it goes back and forth and back and forth. And you don't even realize it. Yeah. You don't even realize it, right? And you also feel sort of like, okay, good, because you're bitching with somebody, get it off your chest, right? So we convince ourselves that that's that's like this thing that we need to do. Yeah. But you're lowering your vibration, and you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it later. It manifests into, like you'll fall asleep early that night because you're tired or whatever. Because it's like emotional.
And I'll add to that too, because like what you said about like the homeowners insurance, I had a perfect example happen to me. I was in the house just hanging out, and I had gotten a cancellation letter because they were saying like you didn't get this fixed or whatever, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, I got the roof fixed. They paid for it. What the hell? So they got me all worked up. And I was just like, I look at the sheet and I'm like, all right, I guess I got to find new insurance now, And so I just put the sheet down. Something told me to go for a walk. Because if you allow and you just release willingness, I went for a walk and I went outside and went out front, and this guy was walking up the street and he stopped and he asked me about something that was construction was going on in the front of the house. I said, oh yeah, it's a mess. Like, they're going to hit us up on our taxes. And, and then I went, my homeowner's insurance, they want to cancel me all of a sudden. And he's like, I just changed my homeowner's insurance. I just used this company to blah, 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 blah. And I was like, really? He's like, I saved like $1,000 a year. And I was like, holy shit. And so I was like, well, let me go get a picture of that on your phone.
Let me go get my phone.
And the first thing I did was I called the insurance company the next day, got the insurance, flipped it, got less insurance, got it $1,000 cheaper. And then the other company called me up and was like, hey, how come you didn't respond to the thing? And I was like, I already got new insurance. And then we're like, oh, you did? Oh, geez, okay. And we're like, see ya. And it was like, just because I was willing to just let it go and just go for a walk and not be so concerned about it and be so worried. And so like, oh, I got to find insurance. That's probably going to be more, and actually ended up being less.
I breathe.
Yeah. Breathe. Breathe. Breath work.
I do a lot of breath work whenever I feel myself a little frustrated.
Yeah.
It'll work.
Yeah, it works. Man. It works fantastic.
Simplest little things. You know, the key point of that story is that willingness, when you said, you know, oh, something made me go out and take a walk. So that's willingness, whether it was reflex or, you thought, you don't even think of it, thinking of it as willingness.
The guy was literally walking up in front of my house. And he just
and then those other elements start to happen.
Yeah.
Let's see, like you stayed home and you bitched about it, whatever. You wouldn't have seen the guy.
Exactly.
Right? And maybe it wouldn't have been 2 weeks till you saw him again or whatever, if ever. You know?
Exactly.
So that's why they say that you can change your reality, because your reality does change on a timeline, if you will, that we have.
Speaking
and I don't really think of life in terms of linear timelines like such, but some people do, and it applies here. Like, you know, these things happen to all of us.
Yeah, let me stop you right there. Let me go into this video. It's a perfect segue.
And you know, in reverse too, a lot of ways. Like, you know, if I'm pissed off about traffic, and believe me, I work on this all the time. I'm nowhere near a cure, but the idea of to be able to identify it and then I make a choice at that point, it's much easier to do.
100%.
You know? But yeah, I'll be in traffic and I'll start going one thing or the other, and then something will happen to make it worse and worse and worse. And I mean, doesn't that happen to people? I think it does.
Absolutely.
You know, in the same sense, the opposite way, you can breeze through.
Absolutely.
You know.
Now, let me play this, and that just segues right into what you're saying. This is perfect.
Yeah, man.
Not all humans are at the same level of consciousness. In fact, there are 7 levels, and most people never go beyond the first. But what about yours? First, you live comfortably inside the system. You work. You consume. You believe what you're told, and you don't question it. Second, you start to feel that something doesn't fit. Routine feels wrong. News, lies, repetition, they begin to bother you. Third, you question religion, politics, even science. People call you crazy for it. Fourth, you discover manipulation. You see how the system controls minds through fear, food, music. Fifth, you turn inward. You stop blaming others and understand that you create your own reality. Sixth, you learn to control your energy. You realize everything is vibration, and that thoughts shape what you experience. Seventh, you feel gratitude. You understand nothing external can save you, because the power was always inside you. If this resonated with you.
I gotta tell you, man, not for nothing. I've hit that 7th pier.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. I'm there, man.
Yeah.
You know, you had said something before. I'm gonna say, like, you know, change your reality. I always say that you could always change your mind. It's simple. Like I was telling someone the other day, always wakes up pissed off, and I said, you could always change your mind. Wake up in a different way. You know what I mean? It's really, it's simple.
You're talking about.
Yeah, just change your mind.
Yeah.
Simple thing.
Yeah.
You know, but we choose not to. I mean, I could choose to wake up miserable, angry. Shit in my life is pretty fucked up right now. But I tell you the truth, I wake up, I got breath, I see my dog, I'm fucking good. I got a protein drink in the refrigerator, I could roll a joint. You know what I mean? I got a nice car outside, I got a place to go. I'm blessed, bro. I look at those things. You know, we're too busy looking at the things that we don't have. We live in under pride. We're all fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
For me, this realization came to a greater understanding of, and then that's where the system and everything, how it's designed to do that to us, right? So now things like, you know, when I was younger, that I didn't understand all of this or whatever, you know, it's designed to keep us in this low frequency. You know, it's not the idea of scarcity in and of itself that we're sold since birth. And if you really think about that and the amount of land and what we could grow and what, you know, like I don't believe that there's scarcity. I don't believe that God put his hero, and there wasn't enough to go around. You know,
there's plenty. What it is that the world wants you to believe that there isn't. We're watching news that's all it's all bullshit. Mm-hmm. We're listening to our neighbors that don't know what the hell they're talking about, and that's what's happening. We're not researching ourselves. We're not looking to see like, oh shit, something isn't right there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But again, you know, and I say this, I've been saying this almost every podcast lately, is that we're not of this world. We're not, bro. Yeah. If you say you're at a different frequency, we're not part of this world, man. Mm-hmm. This world, we live in it, but we're not of it. Watch the world. The world is pride, lust, hate, disgust, all that. That's the world. See?
It's a lot of it.
Right. The three things that, you know, we have, like in Christianity, we have God, Son, Holy Spirit, right? Father, Son, Holy Ghost, right? Now, the Trinity for the other side is the world, the flesh, and the devil. Mm-hmm. Yep. The world will entice you with lust. I mean, we already know that lust in itself is not a good thing.
It's the flesh.
It's the flesh. The flesh wants this and wants that. This way people can see pride. That's the flesh. Yep. And the devil is in charge of it. Yeah. You see, that's their Trinity. Yep. You see, because he's the opposite of what God is. Remember, the devil only lies. There's no truth in him. Everything he says is a lie. Yeah. And that's what the television does. That's what the news does. That's what your neighbor does. And all these uninformed people, without realizing it, they're lying. They're living in this side.
They're living in reverse.
They're living in this side here. They're living in fear. They're living in doubt. Yeah. They're living in believing the lies because they're being manipulated the same way the enemy manipulated Eve. Come, eat. It's just good. Yep. You're surely not going to die. You know what I mean? He lied to her.
Deceived.
Yeah, the great deceiver. The great deceiver.
You can't argue with that.
You can't argue with that. You can't. And that's what, again, going back to like, I had willingness to start to read the Bible again because of Eddie. And he gave me the willingness to be like, oh, maybe I should start reading what he's talking about because it kind of makes sense for what I've been talking about too. And then it puts back for me. So then it made me get out of that loop of not believing and being like, oh yeah, the devil, like he don't exist. Like it's not real. What the fuck? You know?
Evil's real.
Yeah. But he convinces you that he's not. So then you don't think God is real. So then you lose your faith in God. That's what happens, and that's what happened to me. It happened to me. I mean, I admit
it all stems from fear. Yeah. You know, look at the lowest one of the lowest vibrations. It's an apathy, isn't it? I think it's one of them. It's apathy. At 50, so you're lower than fear and apathy. Yeah. And a lot of people are there. You know, like they just like you said, just sort of don't look at anything, don't question anything.
Guilt. You know? Guilt is big on people. I mean, the enemy of guilt, that little demon, guilt, will inflict your mind. Absolutely. Because the battlefield is here.
Yeah, 100%.
We know that if from here it goes to the heart and affects the body. Yeah. Right? So we have to realize that up here is the battle. That our struggle is not against flesh and blood. Yeah. And, these people aren't your enemies, biting on these people. No. They're evil. No. They're being used by
Nephilim spirits. They're being used by spirits.
Evil spirits.
Exactly.
It says dark forces. It doesn't only say spirits. Mm-hmm. It says dark forces. Yep. Okay? Stuff that's happening from people who are very dark and ugly and evil.
Yeah. That's what they do. And that's what people are finding out. That's why I wanted to do this show, because that's what people are realizing. I mean, even my son's sending me, videos of the Epstein stuff and all this stuff that he knows about, that he's sending me because it's coming mainstream. So it's in his face. So he's seeing that and dealing with that too. So imagine all the other kids in his age that are dealing and seeing with that too. That's why they're going through what they're going through. It's a battle in the mind.
I'm noticing that too. I think more of this Epstein information coming out, every day and whatnot. Yeah. That I'm seeing people that sort of wouldn't really buy into any of the, sort of stuff that we talk about as far as conspiracies.
The files. Biden could release the files. They didn't.
But even that being said, the stuff that's in the files.
Well, you see why they did.
Now I'm seeing people start. Yeah. And here's we were speaking about this. Last Thursday night, sort of when you get a scent, like when the dog gets a scent, like once you get that scent, right, it's very rare that people just stop. That you get on that scent and you're going to keep following. We all
did. That's the
because,
whole. That's,
right.
that's the awakening train.
So
that's the title of the video.
Yeah. Right.
So exactly.
So that's the awakening train. What do you think, Rondell?
So,
what are you seeing going on?
Right
you're
now,
going through stuff. We're all going through stuff.
It's basically right now what it is they're going to give up the information just to see. Basically, right now, are you going to still do your job? Are you going to still be obedient? Are you still going to pay your taxes, obey, even though you know the world is run by scum fucking bags?
Yeah.
We showing you. We ain't even showed you the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
6.5 million files. It's going to take a long fucking time for people to get through them.
Yep.
6.5 million.
I can, Pam Bondi, I saw that news clip before I came. I try to catch up loads of news before I come to the show. It's the only time I ever watch the news. And Pam Bondi was asked by one of the senators, why haven't they been in the arrest? And Pam Bondi changed the subject and said Trump's doing a good job.
Yeah. You know why, Eddie?
I'm going to tell you this. One thing I do know is that they have people. Remember Christ. Christ was a man of God, right? He was God himself turned into the flesh, so I believe in my faith. Yeah. So if that's true, right, and people hated him. Remember, he was crucified by his own people. I look at TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, how people hate this man when obviously he's doing good things. I mean, I'm not a fan, but I see he's doing good things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So why such the hate? And now I see these little clips, these little reels of this, this white reporter, even a black reporter, they're Trumpers. And they say, why you don't like Trump? He's a racist. Show me an example of where he's a racist.
Yeah, they can't.
Oh, he's a racist. The news says it.
Yeah, exactly.
The news says it. Yeah. That's what she said. Yeah. Because there's no example of him being a racist. I mean, he was friends with by the way, Jesse Jackson passed away too.
Today?
Yeah, he did. 84 years old. I mean, Jesse Jackson. He was a liberal.
Well, let's go back to the Pam Bondi thing. So, the reason why, and I had this conversation in Country Kitchen today with somebody. The reason why Pam Bondi is doing what she's doing is because she's put in a situation where she has to get people enraged, so that people demand justice. She doesn't have a hold of these files like she's like, oh, I'll release them when I go. Remember she was saying they're on my desk. I'm gonna release them when I get through them. That was all a show to get people worked up over the whole process of the files coming out. Remember they gave those people all those binders and they stood out in front of the White House with the binders and there was nothing in them. It was all a buildup to get people to get enraged. That's why she was changing the subject. Oh, with Trump's the Dow's at 50,000 and everything's going great, and they were like, what the fuck?
There's ain't enough outrage for a race.
There's not enough outrage yet. So the more she does that, the more people are going to get outraged. We're going to demand justice, and not just the people on the left, the people on the right too, because they're going to be demanding justice as well because they're going to see what's going on. The people on the left are going to start screaming for justice. I see a lot of people on the left that are really like hardcore liberals that are screaming for justice because they're hearing what these people have been doing with the kids. Remember what I've always said about this whole thing, Eddie? When they find out what they've been doing to these kids,
that's right.
That's what's going to unite humanity. People are going to fucking be outraged going, these people are fucking evil. They've been eating it. They're screaming because they're eating babies. Oh my God, why is anybody protesting right now?
Yeah.
Why do you hear any protest about
crazy. Did you see that video? Did you see that?
Yeah, there's no protest about the babies getting mutilated.
She was in one of the parties and she ran out of the hotel.
Yeah.
And, she's downstairs. She's a model. She was a famous model at the time.
Yeah.
And she ran out of the fucking hotel and she's down at the bottom of the lobby screaming. They're out there eating babies. And the fucking everybody just
video, right?
Yeah. So walking around her she's fucking a lunatic.
So
it sounds crazy, but
sounds insane.
So why is it people doing protests on the side of the road?
Because you know why? Because they don't want to believe it.
Exactly.
They don't believe it.
They don't want to believe
And
it.
eventually they're going to be, like I've always said.
I don't want to believe telling me about adrenochrome.
Oh, yeah.
I said, fuck you, bro. I know that didn't know that's a kid.
You couldn't even Google that word.
Yeah.
You couldn't even look that. Remember when we went to look up the word? You couldn't even Google.
No, you can't.
Really?
Oh,
You can.
No, at that time.
No,
at that
now
time
you can.
Now you
Because
can.
it's more it's being spoken.
Now you can.
Now, yeah.
But what I'm saying,
was
when
blocked
John
on
first said it, I was in
Facebook.
disbelief. And it wasn't that I didn't believe him.
Yeah, you just didn't want
It's
to hear
just I
it.
didn't want
It was
to.
just sounded so
No,
crazy.
I said, how can they do that? Like, put a
It's
kid-
horrible.
Scare him to a point to where his blood.
And then we go back to the chart. Fear. Yep. Guilt, shame. You shame the kid. You fear them.
Oh my God.
So again, that's the harvesting of the energy, like we talked about before the podcast about the vampire, the energy vampires.
So
right?
apparently, once we understand it on these types of terms,
levels, you know what
then
it
then
does.
you can see sort of the motive, right? So why would
That's
and
harvesting
you know,
energy.
as Eddie says in scripture, the evil is incarnate on the earth.
Mhm.
It's the devil's,
It's his playground.
what's the biblical term for they mention it.
What he did is that he was cast down, right? And he was on earth before man was.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was already here.
Yeah.
They talk about dinosaurs, all that, whatever.
Yeah.
He was already here, right? So what happened, the reason why he was cast down was because of pride. Now, God allowed man to be here with him. But what was it that he did? He warned man.
Yeah.
Right? But what he did is that God put him on this earth to rule this world.
Right, it's his world.
To rule it.
A rule of world he
His
hated.
world.
Basically.
So basically,
Yeah.
Christ gave him and 1/3 of the angels, which are demons, guilt, all these little demons, right? Dominion over earth. Now, when Adam and Eve came, he gave them dominion. Remember,
Correct.
you're going to control everything, but don't eat of that tree. He was looking for obedience.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened? The enemy was already here. He's a great manipulator. He manipulated Eve.
Continues to happen.
Adam was right there with her. He could have said, "What are you doing, woman, listening to that?" But he didn't. He let her eat, and then he ate.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened?
Became conscious.
They noticed they were naked.
It activated
Oh my God!
consciousness.
Everything happened.
So then all those
Now it went
lower
down.
frequencies.
What happened? Shame.
Mhm.
We look at the frequency.
Yeah, the chart.
Shame.
They were hiding
Then they
from
ran. Fear.
They were
It's the
hiding from
lowest
So they went from enlightenment
Yeah, they went all the way down.
all the way down to shame.
And that's why we're going back up.
Do you understand now?
Yeah.
Adam and Eve, the enemy, the frequency levels.
That makes it, understand a lot better, and I've never really referenced it that way. So thank you very
No,
much for that,
absolutely.
because that's amazing.
But remember, this
From enlightenment to shame, which is the lowest,
right?
right?
Because they were
In that
enlightened.
instant.
They were chosen.
And
Wow.
what do they say about the path of awakening? It's from dark to light. So we go from darkness, lack of information, to light.
Right,
All
because remember,
information.
even the Bible says that when we're born in sin.
Yeah.
We're born sinners. Unfortunately, because of the disobedience of Adam and Eve, we're born sinners. But now, like he just said, we go from the dark,
Yeah.
born a sinner, to enlightenment.
You die better.
Because God has the path. All you have to do is follow it.
Yeah. Makes total sense.
It's funny because people that are uncomfortable having conversations, even about simple things like vibration, right? Nothing compared to like the heavier stuff that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
There's a happy ending, guys. Like you should, you know what I mean? Like in other words, this is I'm not lowering my vibration, trying to lower other people's vibrations by setting an example.
No,
of
we're trying
how
to go up. That's what ascension is. We're trying to go back to enlightenment.
And that's why, because we know there's a happy ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not because it's all dark or every way you go.
Yeah, no, but that's your mindset.
So but to be in enlightenment as a species, I mean, what they say now is that the world is at 200, that it would only take a very, very small raise in collective vibration.
Oh yeah.
And to be quite honest, all the troubles, at least the money troubles, which is hell. I mean, there's you name basically the problems would disappear overnight if we just took care of each other at that point. We're sold from birth that it's man against man, and that we would just kill each other, and that's what they've done for centuries before us. And what if that's a lie, right? And what if it's not that way at all? And I'm one to believe that it's not that way at all. That I know how my heart is and would be under these circumstances, and how joyful it would make me to love thy neighbor and that kind of thing, and sort of so people say, well, how would you live or whatever? It would be tribal. It would be people who live together that really enjoy each other, and people that don't. It's not going to be everybody. Together with everybody.
And we talk about that. Rondell.
So in these types of I say to myself, wow. People have said that you're going to be happy that you were alive in this time. And it's hard. That's hard to grasp sometimes.
We're talking about this high frequency real quick. Yeah. Now, it says in the book of Matthew 6:33, because I was thinking about like the frequency we speak about all the time, the new earth, right? Yeah. And the Bible says in Matthew 6:33, do not worry about your life, what you eat. And it says, but seek first the kingdom of God, right? That new earth and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to it. That's what it says here. Yes. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto it.
And what did Jesus say? Where is the kingdom of God?
Inside of
ourselves.
Right. That's how we get there.
I got you.
That's how we get there.
Right, because
that's
we're the church.
Christ consciousness, right?
Wait, what did you say, Eddie? We are the church.
We are the church.
It's the Christ consciousness that we speak about.
And that's what's coming is a health and a wealth transfer for that exact reason. Like you just said, for the church. Bingo. Yep, you hit it.
The church of ourselves.
Something?
It's amazing.
Yep. You speak about enlightenment, and I speak, and I think of one person, Joseph. Joseph has been enlightened. You know Joseph, right? The guy that's
with the side of the road.
Oh gosh,
you met him at Christmas.
Yeah,
I met him right before Christmas at Sam's Club.
So Joseph, whenever you speak to Joseph,
so people don't know there's a guy that does preaches on the side of the road.
Yeah, he preaches on the side of the road. He's one of those sidewalk preachers.
Talk about an energy. I felt his energy. I think I called it.
But he's enlightened.
I was lit up.
Yeah.
When you speak to Joseph, he has such a peace. This man gave up a business and everything to do what he's doing, to bring his family to live in the trail, to go out there.
I haven't seen his family lately either. I don't know if his family
they're still in the trail.
Okay. I haven't seen him lately.
But like him showing just his consistency, his enlightenment to the world. Look, and people pass him by, think he's a bum. Yeah. But man, that man is so enlightened. He is so free.
Yeah.
So free, that man. Whenever you see him, he has a smile on his face. You don't even know if the motherfucker ate. But he has like the biggest smile, right? Yeah. Whenever I know him now, he knows my Jeep. Like,
he sees my car.
He goes like this. He already knows, So Joseph is fucking enlightened, bro. Every time I see him, man, I always I look at him.
Yeah.
And I see him like out there, and he's consistent, man, and he speaks the word of God.
He really does. He doesn't ask for any money or anything.
No,
he doesn't pay anything.
I've tried to fill up his tank and stuff like that.
He doesn't really. He's
I think one time I gave him something, but he hardly ever takes anything.
He doesn't ask for anything.
No.
But Thanksgiving one time, we even took some extra food. He said, "I got plenty." He said, he gives his stuff away, bro.
So what do you think, Rondell? Just fill in before we jump into caps here. This Hawkins scale consciousness.
So I've been like, the consciousness thing is kind of, because I was raised like with this mind state, like right now.
Yeah, you were
from I was raised this way. So like, I don't even know where the fuck I'm at on that scale. So like, I can bounce anytime I'm, and like, cause
we all can though.
Yeah, like, but like,
I bounce to fear and worry sometimes.
Well, then he's I'm mostly at the top.
Yeah.
Mostly, like it takes, and for me, I'm like one of those people. Like if it's out of my control, well, I think it's gone. And I flick it in there. And it's above me.
You were tuned out to your upbringing and more than just a belief in the Bible, but they didn't talk to you in terms of vibration, right? But you just know that was the case.
I knew. I'm talking about my mom was. If you watch, my mom has a podcast too. Like she does her own thing, bro. She's been talking about this since I never had When I was
he
I'm
couldn't
the
watch
oldest.
TV.
I couldn't
He
get
had to read. When he was
because
up to
my mom
house,
was
he
already
watched
teaching me
TV.
symbolism.
Yeah.
So like I'm watching TV and a picture comes up on the TV and we had that damn satellite dish so you could pause the shit.
Yeah.
You see this? And then she'd go and she'd pull up something and it'd be exactly what she fucking just read. A picture of exactly what, and I'd be like, holy, she not playing. They go through the TV to get you. And then I had to start reading this shit. Like I had to create it in your mind. You can't, because that's what you do when you read.
You create it in your mind. Yeah.
They can't force the image on you.
Yeah.
See, I was raised the opposite. I was raised in fear, and not having enough. Like we don't have enough.
Yeah, me too.
I grew up that way. Really, I grew up very poor, so it was like, man, we don't have enough. Like I remember when coupon day came and the refrigerator was full, I used to just open it and stare.
Right.
Stare at it, dude. Like, wow.
Because you're
I was the kid just looking at it, and I would get my Yankee Doodles, and I would get 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yankee Doodles, remember the Yankee
Came
Doodles?
in a 3-pack.
Yeah, 3-pack. Yeah, that was my favorite.
Yeah.
And my mom would always get me that,
funny.
and I would open the refrigerator and see all the veggies and the
funny.
juices, and eat my Yankee Doodles. Because can you imagine that's where I was in scarcity?
Yeah, well, that was all by design.
Yeah, they sold us the scarcity for sure.
Oh yeah, we bought it too. We bought that motherfucker, especially when we see a beautiful show like The Happy Days. They live in a nice house, and everything is happy. They got all this stuff, and you're like, man, you're looking around, you're looking at a rundown apartment. You got roaches on the wall, and you're like, shit,
We got a couple comments of that last reference, Eddie, with the Bible and everything. Sandra said, great reference.
Yeah,
Sandra
man.
Tokarski, she's Kelly's friend up north.
Hey, what's up?
And Tina, she said, hey guys, great to see y'all.
Awesome.
So thanks for checking in, guys. We appreciate it. Let's go to Cap's Pizza too.
Dude.
So we get
That's great.
Eddie walked in and deleted that.
Bro, I always take half with me, bro. But that chicken Philly, bro, it is slamming, bro.
Destroyed it.
Bro, I killed it.
already?
It's gone. I always say
It's a
half.
chicken Philly?
Yeah.
I had the regular Philly. I'm going to try that chicken
That
Philly.
chicken Philly was good, bro.
Somebody had a meatball parm or something
Oh, look
too,
at that
right?
pizza, bro.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
They make square?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. It looks like a grandma there,
They
bro.
so good. And I'm talking about I got a little crunch to it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you gotta have it well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. They make an awesome grandma.
Get me a corner.
Right. That's too
See,
funny.
they got beer, wine. It's a nice spot, dude. And they always
It's
playing
great
sports.
inside. The inside is so cool, man. Like, it just feels like that hometown restaurant.
There goes Pop right there.
Look at that.
That's Cappy.
There he is.
And there's always people like hanging out, not just eating. Like there's always like
It's a
people
spot,
that are eating there. Seems like you're in their living room. Like
bro.
it's like it's real, I don't want to pick up stuff, but I told my wife I want to go sit there and eat one night.
Right.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah,
That's
you should. You just go in there, sit in one of the booths. And
Yeah, the
fucking
booths are
chill
cool.
out.
cool. Yeah, they got Pac-Man. They got all kinds of shit, bro. It's cool as fuck.
You wouldn't think it from the outside. You don't think it until I walked in there. It's like, wow, it's cool.
It's awesome. Sometimes on Sundays I'll go up there and sit
Oh,
at the
shit,
What
look
is
at that.
that?
sit in
That's
the bar.
balsamic on top.
Oh, yeah,
for
that's,
sure.
That's the what's he
Well,
called?
he's got chicken caprese.
That's
Chicken
chicken
caprese.
caprese,
Chicken
bro.
caprese. That's what it is.
Damn, bro, they be killing it there. So if they want to order some pizza, how can they get
I like that balsamic glaze. Man.
Yeah, right.
That makes
good.
that gives that little
Yeah.
sweetness.
Give a call, 772-770-2277. CapsPizzaMenu.com. Tell them TGI Now sent you. 10% off.
Yeah, I had said 15 last
No,
time. I'll pay the extra 5.
Either way.
But anyway, they have one at 27th and Oslo. Make sure you check them
We'll
out.
pay
man.
we'll pay the extra.
John does a lot for the community.
my boy
They
do a
got-
lot for the community.
Yeah.
And they got a party
They got
room.
Little League,
Yeah,
sponsor
beer wine.
Little League.
They do all kinds of stuff for the people. So if you want to get some good pizza, don't support these franchises that who knows what they're supporting.
Yep.
He's supporting our community.
Yep. Absolutely. And it looks like he's hiring pizza people too.
Oh, yeah.
So he needs pizza makers. So go ahead, Joe. I know you want to
So
jump
back
in
to
there.
what we were talking about before, right?
Yeah.
And so Rondell's up in the higher vibrations, most if not all of the time, and we can affect people in that way. In other words, you're not going to let anything or anybody like bring you, lower that vibration, So I'm sure all of it happens to all of us where that's, somebody's in your life or somebody comes into your life, even for a moment, or somebody that's even there all the time that just, is always in that low vibrating state, right? Like, and the thing that happens in a conversation or an exchange of any sort is only three things can happen. Either, he's feeling low and you're feeling, a higher vibration, Rondell picks me up and I'm at that high vibration. Yeah, that's good. But a lot of the times, the other thing, one of three things. So that's the first thing. Or I have somebody come down to my level when I was talking about like when, we're bitching about the insurance went up, right? Yep. So now or the exchange doesn't happen. That just the two people just go the only way. So if you realize that that's what happens in every exchange, you become a lot more aware and a lot more protective of your own piece, which is what we need to do. We're not going to try to change anybody. You guys are not trying to change anybody on this show. You're just speaking your truth. That's it. And speaking your truth raises your vibration. And we hope it raises other people's vibration. Might piss people off and get them angry, but that's not our intent. And intent is a lot of things, especially vibrationally. Absolutely. It means a lot in very spiritual term too with regard to that.
So you said, Rondell, when you had mentioned about how our frequency can change periodically. And I find that to be true. However, I will call it situational vibration.
Every time.
Why? Yep. It's not that we're in a low vibration. It's that a situation brought us there. Mm-hmm. Okay, bills coming. Oh, shit. They're getting ready. I can't find it. This is happening. That worry. Mm-hmm. Already you lowered your vibration from having faith and love.
Immediately. As soon as you said that.
Right. It brought it down. But remember, just as quick as it brings it down, you can change your mind and say, something, I'm not going to worry about that bill because God has always provided for me. He has always taken care of it. And the truth of it is, he always has. And I believe it in my heart, and I'll put it out to the universe. I have not, bro, there ain't nobody looking for none of me. You understand what I'm saying? It just, God fills the gap. Because we believe it, because we put it into the universe, our vibration. Remember, the higher your vibration, the higher you are to that kingdom that I was talking about.
Closer to enlightenment.
Right? Yeah. Remember, the kingdom is the goal.
Well, remember, we always talked about in the Voice of Knowledge book, that was always the book that really brought all this together for me, because we'd always talk about the dream of the first attention, the dream of the second attention, and the dream of the third attention. So the first attention, the dream of the first, it's total matrix. You're just like that video we just watched, fear, all that, everything. And then you get out of the dream of the first attention, and you break that cycle of your ego, and you live in more of a closer to enlightenment life. You step into the matrix every once in a while, but you're getting out into the second attention.
And that's what most of us who are awake are
doing. They're in between the two dimensions. Like it's third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension.
What we're noticing, though, is that we're starting to hit the third, the dream of the third attention, too.
Yes.
We'll hit
which
that.
Which
is enlightenment, which is love, the highest frequency. Because we live, like Rondell was saying, in that dream of the second attention. You're absolutely right. Where we're back and forth because of life struggles or just life itself, right? It could be like in a marriage, you spoke about how people, like if there's a different frequency, do you know what they call that in a marriage? Irreconcilable differences. Okay, and that's what it is. Because if you're in two different vibrations and two different frequencies, you're going to have irreconcilable differences. It's always going to happen.
It's not a vibration.
It's that third part where you just go like that.
It's not a vibrational match.
Right.
The vibration doesn't match anymore. It's like two magnets hitting each other.
I'm talking about in a legal term. In a term that people recognize.
But the spiritual term is it's another vibrational match. We thought we were, but
that's grounds for divorce.
Yeah.
You can't say because we don't have the same vibration.
No. But if you're living in, but if you're living in the dream of the third attention,
trying to tell the judge we ain't got the same vibration.
You live in the dream of the third attention. In your head, it's not a vibrational match. So you can say, oh yeah, in my head, it's not a vibrational match. But in the legal terms, in the matrix, in the dream of the first attention, it's irreconcilable differences.
Right? They don't get along.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. That's the lower frequency.
We just say our vibrations ain't it.
But it's the truth. You ever been in a room like I won't mention his name, right? But we knew a guy, right? And whenever he was around,
we talked about it earlier.
That's how
wow, see how that works?
And that's how I was laughing. I was like, this motherfucker just brought this shit up.
We were talking about energy vampires.
Yeah, energy vampires. Yeah. What they do is that they come in at a low frequency, and they come to steal your vibration. They come to steal your energy.
They get you down and they walk out like this.
Yeah,
they walk out of the situation like this.
Bro, when they leave, you're drained.
That's the one thing.
Go ahead.
No.
Yeah, that's the one going
That's
up.
what I said. So one of three things: either you come up, you go down, or or reconcile differences. You know what I mean?
So they come up to your vibration, or you go down to theirs.
So what happens in that case too is exposure.
Yeah,
they get exposed
100%.
Because that's what happened, and I got no problem just bye. I really don't. If it doesn't work, man. If we're not a match, I mean, I talk to people every day for I'm in retail, so we talk to people all day, but we're not connecting. Mm-hmm. You see, but I don't connect with people that I don't have a vibrational match.
Exactly.
I don't only because they'll steal my energy. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'm not always there. Sometimes I'm at the courage state. Okay, I need to have courage, get out of this state, and I need a higher fight. And when you're at that state of courage, remember that's the pinnacle. That's where it's at. Under that is pride. Right. On top of that is being neutral and willingness. So what I'm saying is that I have to be very careful because a lot of times I'm here.
You're right on the border.
Okay? Yeah, so I have to be careful with these people. So what I do, I stay away from them. When they start the gossip, when they start all the nonsense, I gotta go.
That's why a lot of people are finding it's that past sort of relationships or whatever are much more strained and difficult now, or maybe don't happen as often. And it's nobody's fault. It's just vibrationally. If there's a person that's moving up and the other person's not willing to move up, and you're not willing to move down, well, the conversation again is just not can't happen. I mean, there's no fourth choice. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I think too that these types of things and this simplicity, can become something that people in the everyday, can start to notice more about themselves and correct when possible, but just even noticing that energy person that when you walk in, there's that one person that just spoils the mood. Like everybody feels it. We just don't speak like this, but we all know, right? I mean, I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Where it goes unsaid, but this one dude is just bringing everybody down or whatever,
Well, because they have to feed off it. That's the whole point.
No, I understand. Yeah, I just mean as sort of as people, as a community, or as a group of people that are speaking our truth. The more people recognize these little simplicities, I'm not going to say it's going to solve your problems, but it will clarify things in a big way, in a highly detailed way, because you can apply this literally, not like literally to every aspect of your life, on every day, and it's just like, oh, wow, that's pretty easy,
Yeah, but see, it's not easier said than done. That's what people are struggling with right now, is that they feel like they're awakening to things, but then the world gets into them again. It starts to attack them. The spiritual attacks happen.
You put that video on before. Yeah. What happens is that people fall into a cycle. How many times people go to a job they hate? Yeah. They're there 8 hours doing. They hate it. Yeah. So what happens after 8 hours every day?
You are drained.
It engulfs you.
Yeah.
Right? Now you become the job that you hate. Yeah. You show up every day, you punch your clock, you hate fucking life. You go home, your wife is fucking nagging you. You're just a miserable bastard. And guess what? You did it to yourself. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is fucking change your mind. Quit.
Yeah, exactly.
Quit the job.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If it's not working, if you hate it, don't do it. Mm-hmm. Oh, I need the money. Yeah, we all do. Mm-hmm.
That's what
you have to do something that I really don't want to do.
Part of the COVID thing. Like, you got to wear a mask for your job. You got to get a vaccine to keep your job. That was part of the keep you in the low frequency too. That was all by design too.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. And then you look at the scale and you say, okay, look at like the demographics of an average person's life and what you have to go through. I mean, from day one, like with the schools, I never made reference between like grade school and prison, but then I look at photographs of both. And you're like, I'll be damned if it don't look.
If you think about it, every door in the
courtyards and whatnot.
Even every door in the school. When you walk into a school, every door it's a steel door closing behind. It gets you used to it.
But see, the schools up here are different though. Schools up north. Look like prison.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at have you driven by Vero Beach? That's a prison.
I'm talking about that's like a castle.
Yeah, but
like in New York, I'm going
to tell you, look like Florida prisons, pretty much.
But they look like in New York, they're castles.
Yeah, they do.
I know what you're saying.
And then they close the door.
But if you look at a prison from Florida, if you look at a prison in Florida in the middle of the state, and you look at a high school,
they got you ready for it.
They look a lot alike.
See, I went from grammar school, and the prison I went to was Sing Sing. Was another big ugly cat.
It looked just like one of those schools you went to, didn't it?
And that's the beginning of it.
That's all by getting ready.
That's your environment.
Television. Our generation was raised on television, right? There's that combination. There's all these different things that you can just, if you look at it as a whole, you'd be like, wow, still it's our responsibility to stay at a high vibe. But I mean, look, I was in my 40s before I ever even saw the Hawkins scale of
consciousness.
So I said to myself, as soon as I saw it, because I didn't have the vocabulary yet, but I was already doing the work that I needed to do to get, so taking responsibility for myself. I'm like, why don't we teach this to 5-year-olds?
Exactly.
I mean, that's how simple it is. Like Rondell learned it at an early age. You know what I mean?
But still, it was
that doesn't make you a good person. It doesn't make you that. No. You could still end up that miserable guy that hates his life.
Because this is not indoctrination. This is not indoctrination.
It's free choice.
That's using your voice, using your mind.
See, another thing my mom did. I told John and Eddie this. One day I was I got suspended off the bus. And so she got to take me to school. And I don't know why she just asked me this random ass question. She was like, what religion do you believe in? And I was like, I'm a Christian. Why are you a Christian? Because you're a Christian. Because I'm a Christian. She's like, religion is man-made, right? Somebody like you may have an idea and said, this is what people should believe in. And a bunch of people decided to follow. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I'm like, huh? She was like, it's your choice. Just because I'm doing this, don't mean it's your path.
Right. It's not a bloodline thing.
Like I read the Bible. I used to, as a punishment, when I got in trouble, I had to sit there while my mom would do people in the neighborhood hair. I had to sit there and read Bible verses. Like dead serious, bro. Out loud while she doing somebody hair.
I like your mom.
That was my punishment.
I like your mom.
Bro, I didn't like her at that moment.
That's awesome.
That moment,
that's
I
awesome.
didn't like her. It's just
it's amazing, but the availability of this information, maybe it was out there, it wasn't, it's just these little simple truths in general speaking, taught to a younger, kids at a younger age. I think it'll make a significant difference in communities and in the way we live on a day-to-day basis, in this realm.
Will be empty. You know why? Because again, there's a lot of people who don't believe it, and if they start to look at the curriculum of the school, they just won't send the kids to that school. Again, it goes back to what you said. I like your mom. We as parents, as grandparents, need to educate our children at home. Mm-hmm. See, that's where it's taught. It's taught at home. The stuff that we learned in school, we barely use. I don't know. I've never used algebra. I never used, geometry. Never used it. But I know basic math.
Do you know I've never failed a spelling test before?
Bro,
because of one of my punishments was writing fucking pages out of encyclopedias.
You don't fail a spelling test, right?
I've never fucking failed I don't even know how I know some words that I know. Like we talk about shit, random shit all the time. And they'll say something and I'll be like, damn, why do I know about that?
Why do I know about that?
Like, why? Why do I know about that?
Memory.
And it's just like, bro, because you read a fuck.
Yeah.
You wrote that page. She literally said this page 25 times. 25 times one page, bro. That's like fucking. So one set is that many papers, bro.
Let me get to the core of this right now. When you were being punished and reading those Bible verses,
I have no idea.
Wait a minute. What vibration were you at? Bring up the scale. Let's see what you got. Come on now. Come on, let's be honest. All right. You see where you at?
Hey, I'll tell the truth. I was at fear.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie.
You were down low.
If I messed up,
you were down low.
Showtime.
But here you are, knowing how to spell every word in the book. And you're not feeling that way, right? So your mom's a genius.
Right. It all backfired. It came back. Like, a lot of people like say they don't whoop their kids because it's like you don't want your kids to think like, damn.
Yeah.
A lot of it's situational, like Eddie said. Some people grow up in eras where it's dark eras and you're getting beat and shit. It's not right. But when you're growing up in a time of where people are being enlightened, I can't let you go astray.
No doubt.
Can I read something?
No doubt.
Again, just to go back to the Bible.
Yeah.
Proverbs 22.6, right? Chapter 22, verse 6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
Right.
So that's what happened. You were being trained as a child.
Yeah.
But when you got older, you won't depart from it. Now you got the education, you're awakened because you were trying to talk to me when you were just a kid. I was paying you no mind. That's the truth.
See that?
But that's the truth. I know he's my son's best friend.
And you tried to tell him all the time.
Oh, bro, I'm talking about, bro.
So you were just saying.
And he's literally, he saw that little movement he just did.
Eddie was just saying before about how we're responsible for it, right? But there was a long time before, like you said, when you became willing, when you were talking to John, you were unwilling when you were talking to him. So you're just figuring it out now. So like,
I was raised differently though. I was raised in a house of witchcraft. I was raised in a house of alcoholism. A mother who was very, had a couple of boyfriends. I was raised in a different environment. But what I'm saying to you is that I needed to go through the life I went through. And when I got to the point, it was in 2018.
To the point.
When I got to the point, that's when John came into my life, and he just brought things that I already knew.
That's the attraction.
But I couldn't put them into words. I didn't have words for what I knew. You understand?
Exactly.
So when he came, I was willing, and he enlightened me, because there was a point that I felt. You remember? I was telling you, bro. I'm fucking dazed. And when we did DMT. We had the DMT and got into that frequency.
Yeah, I've heard so.
For me, but it took us, bro. We really raised our frequency. We caught a nice buzz, a positive buzz. That's what created this podcast.
Here is light. It's got this thing hang upside down, you spin around,
the secret molecule.
Meditative state.
Yeah, bro.
It's up in North Carolina. I want to take
That's why they call it the secret molecule.
I'm going to show you this machine, and you'll see. No, I was just referring to the idea that we didn't know. I didn't know enough of it myself to start teaching my kid. Only in the last even 10 years or so that I have a stronger vocabulary. But also I'm backing it up with my own vibration. So in other words, like I lived in the lower vibrations my whole life, and I thought it was normal. You know what I mean? I thought that's where everybody lived, in a lot of ways,
Like,
and even when I was raising my vibration was a conquest or making some money or something. You know what I mean? Like I thought, and that's how a lot of people are. That's how I was
book of knowledge.
Yeah, no, I haven't read it.
And you got to read the book.
Yeah, I'm going to read it.
The voice of knowledge.
The voice of knowledge. I think I might have read it when I was really young, but I wasn't I wasn't on that. Before agreements. No, I've read that a bunch of times.
Before agreements.
I've read that a bunch of times.
3 agreements.
So, stuff like that.
I'm not going to talk about just try your best.
Right. That's
just do it.
The voice of knowledge is really it's like
the book of Genesis,
and it's like the scale. It's like from going from low darkness.
It talks about it.
It basically says you're going from a low frequency that we born into, and then we went to a higher one. Then we fell from grace and went down to a lower one, and then we're going back up again. This is what we're doing. The humanity's raising the frequency. That's why everything's changing. That's why all this stuff is coming out.
That's the good news.
Well, because that's what this is is what it's all lined up biblically. Remember, this isn't this isn't like all political, like all this.
They want to make
Pam Bondi and all
that's
that.
What lowers everything.
Yeah, well, that's because it's the show. So you have to, when they tell you to enjoy the show, that's what they mean. Enjoy the show. Watch the show. Speak your truth. Don't stop waking people up. Don't come complacent. Just do what you need to do. That's all. That's what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
You just have to just keep doing what you're doing, but you have to enjoy the show. You have to observe, but don't absorb. So you observe the situation. You observe your surroundings. You don't absorb it. Even when you're watching anything on YouTube, anything you watch, just don't observe it.
You had mentioned something about like our children that now it's too late now. It's
not too late.
Yeah, because remember you said yourself that you got enlightened at 40 in your 40s. I was in my 50s.
I just started looking.
No, but you know what I'm saying. In your 40s when you started searching.
Yeah.
Right. I was in my 50s.
Yeah.
So it's not too late. I could talk to my son who's in his 30s, my daughter who's in her 40s, and say, hey, you know what I mean? And my grandchildren who I have opportunity to speak to all the time, it could enlighten them. So the opportunity is still there. The opportunity is always there. It's never too late. Because I can tell you, if John didn't come into the shop and we didn't really talk, there wouldn't be a podcast. But the other thing, it would have been, I would have still been like living in worry and in joy because I have both. You know what I mean? And it was like being on a roller coaster. It sucks. I'd rather be on a higher frequency. I know that we bounced down to a lower frequency because of life. But we could always change our mind at that point. When we see ourselves at that lower frequency, you feel it. Yeah. You feel it. You know it. Man, I feel pressed. I don't feel right, man. This isn't good. You know something, man? But God said that he got my back. And then that's when you start, the fear goes away. Because remember that good will always beat evil, always, and fear has no power over love.
Yep.
No power.
That's right.
Because love is the greatest of these things. That's what it says, right? We have faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Yep. Because what? God is love. So if God is love, if our Creator is love, what's greater than love? What's stronger than love? Evil? No, evil is the devil.
No chance.
Right? The evil, the devil. So we have to realize that we have to live in truth, and living in truth is living in good. Living in a lie is living in evil.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So we live in truth. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of truth, I want to congratulate you guys, for 4 years of speaking your truth here, 4.5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know how long ago it was, over a year, maybe longer. I walked into this room, the vibe,
your name's on the wall, so we have
to sign it again.
I think it's been 2 years. Yeah,
like Eddie, it's been 2 years. Like Eddie said, there's always a high vibe in here.
Yeah,
and John, we speak, a lot, and I always hang up the phone, in a better mood.
Yeah, me too.
And these things shouldn't be overlooked in people's lives.
No.
It's real.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of other stuff that turned out to be real in my life too, and it's really vibrational. But again, I didn't understand it at the time. You get that bad feeling about somebody, and to me, like I'm always like, oh no, but and I ignore it, and it bites me in the ass every time.
Well, I always said you're a lot like me. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But that's okay though, because we were born in that truth, right. That we were born in that unconditional love, where you give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but then you realize this world is not what we thought.
Everybody starts with an 8, like Eddie said.
Everybody starts with an 8.
Remember the movie Dangerous Minds? Michelle Pfeiffer?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Well, she said that she gave all her students, her bad students, an A. And she said, you don't have to earn it. Just keep it.
Yeah.
So that's how I live my life. I give you an A. Everybody. Hey,
that's awesome.
You get an A. You don't have to earn it with me. However, you need
just
to keep it.
You can walk in the door.
Keep it. Some people lose it right away. Some people lose it right away. As soon as they walk in, hey, what's up? And then you just feel that bad vibration.
Yeah.
Like, whoop. I went from an A to an F.
That's right.
I gotta go.
That's right. That feeling of bad vibration is the stuff that like I would ignore. And he's already down underneath an A, and I keep him at A status because I'm thinking like, But again, I'm not pointing it out to talk about my experience. I'm just pointing it out because, that bad feeling, that's the vibration. That's it. And we were saying it affects other people. Mm-hmm. Like a high vibrating person can affect tens of thousands of people, and there's a ratio that they talk about.
Absolutely.
I know it's this much. If there's 2 people, it becomes not double, it multiplies by 10. And then you add another, and it multiplies by 100. And then there's another, and you're at 1,000. And so now it just... It exponentially just goes like this.
Well, you just described the conspiracy club that we started. That's very similar. You're bringing people in a vibe.
It's just the vibe is doing it, and really, it's about speaking your truth and how good that really feels, and how rare of an opportunity it is. Because if you really think about it, there's not too many safe zones out there.
Not doing a live broadcast from a bar.
And to sound like a crazy person or whatever. But more importantly, it's your truth. As a matter of fact, it was my question. It wasn't my truth yet. It was sort of, there's the things I have questions about, and so my truth started to develop out of that. But getting that information initially means that you have to recognize that it's missing in the first place. And that's the kind of stuff that you guys bring out. So congratulations, and keep up the good work, man.
It was your idea to come up with the club, the conspiracy club. So that basically spawned off of like this podcast and the IRC media and everything.
And it all ties in. It all ties in. This show is not about one thing. You couldn't even specify one specific thing that you got. It's all.
When people ask me what's your podcast about, I look at it and I'm like, I just don't.
The truth is really the best way.
If they ask when they ask like what subjects, like it's like sometimes it's hard to pinpoint. Sometimes I'm just like, what I think our truth about.
I told people we spoke. Somebody asked me that.
Yeah.
They said, "So what you guys talk about?" I said, "We talk about reptilians, about aliens."
You just go straight for it.
I go straight for it. Reptilians, aliens. The Epstein's still alive.
Right.
So you tell them. So these are people like it's like thanks a lot, man. And that was never Biden. That's what we talk about in our podcast. And they're like, "Whoa, okay." Look at you. You got 3 fucking heads. Like you're a fucking nut.
Right.
But that's my truth.
It's hysterical.
Who's to say it's a lie?
No,
because I believe it.
And that that alone,
real authentic truth talk.
That's right.
That's it. That's really what it comes down to.
You guys back it. You guys back it up with even the videos I've seen of you speaking, to the school board and a lot of other things. That's courage and then some.
I'll just tell people we don't miss shit.
You don't let anything slide.
We don't let nothing slide. We see it all.
But I know what the goal is. You're not trying to stir shit. You're trying to give, an example of how good it feels to speak your truth.
Exactly. That's really what it comes down to.
Whatever your truth is, that's not the point.
Yeah. So if anybody's local listening right now, don't forget we do the Conspiracy Club 101 and second Thursday of the month. It's filthy, so check it out.
Yeah, this month it's going to be.
What date is it? And we'll put it out there.
Yeah, man, make sure you guys check out. Also, man, make sure you guys check out Caps.
Yeah.
We put them out earlier today. I got to tell you, I had that chicken Philly sub. I never kill a sub that quick.
You killed it.
It was delicious. Right? I gobbled it down. So, really, if you guys are looking for a nice place to hang out, beer, wine, good spot, family owned.
Reptilian conversation.
They definitely hook up the community.
Yep.
So you want to look out for them the same way they look out for us. Check them out at Caps. If they want a place in order, they can go to Caps Menu.
CapsPizzaMenu.com. Tell them TGI Now.
What a great family they are, too. They do all charity work and stuff.
And what was that, March 12th?
March 12th is Conspiracy Club next one. Yeah,
so
second Thursday of the month of Philly.
March 6 to 8. Hopefully we can get a push back to 9. We'll see.
I think.
All right, guys. Make sure you guys share the show. Appreciate you guys who listen, subscribe, and share the show, man.
Absolutely.
We appreciate y'all.
All right.
Hey, Joe, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, bro. It was fun. Always. Thank you guys for having me, man.
Yeah, man. All right, guys. Stay human.
Love, peace, chicken grease, baby.
We out.
Man, we could have went for 3 hours.